Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent and the most merciful. Welcome you all again in the virtual learning system of Pakistan International School, Taif, Saudi Arabia. Dear students, as you know that this is Pakistan International School, Taif, virtual class for class 10th students, subject computer science, and today is our 27th lecture. Teacher name, as you know that, Imran Ahmed. Dear students, as you know that in the previous lecture we were discussing about the chapter number 5, which was loop structure, the extensive question, because all the extensive questions containing all the topics of the chapter number 5. So we will discuss one by one. Question number 3 was, what is looping structure? Explain for loop with examples. So first of all, we have explained the definition of the loop. Definition of loop is used to execute a single statement or group of statements again and again until condition becomes satisfied. So this is the definition. A loop is a structure that enables the programmers to execute the same sequence of statements repeatedly until particular condition is met. It means that when the until the condition becomes true, the part of the statements inside the loop will be executed. So for this purpose, we have defined. I tell you three kinds of loops we have used in the C language. Which number one is for loop, number two while loop, and number third was do while loop. Already we have explained the for loop. Keep in mind the general form for the for loop is, first of all, we will use the reserved word for, then opening of the for, initialization. So three statement inside the for we can use. So if you put the three semicolons, so it means that this is valid. Semicolon, for example, you cannot use any initialization, you cannot use any condition, you cannot use increment or decrement. So put the three semicolon, so it is valid for loop statement. But over here, the general form of for loop is initialization. After the initialization of variable, then test condition means the checking whether the condition is true or false. If the condition becomes false, then control will transfer outside the block of the loop. Then after that, increment or decrement. Watch here. Now this block body of the loop is depend on this condition. If this condition becomes true, so all the statements inside the body of the for loop will be executed. For this purpose, we have done the simple program in the IDE. I show you so you can explain. So you can practice the examples are given in the book. I will solve the lab activities. I know lab activities much more difficult than the examples because examples are already solved in the book. So I am using the lab activities. So I know lab activity is your work if you know the meaning or if you know the syntax of, if you know the syntax of any statement, so you can do the programming yourself. But at this situation or at this condition, I know it's difficult for the students to do all of these things when no teacher is at the front of you, so it is difficult. So for your facility, for to facilitate you you boys, I solve the lab activities and I will do the lab activities later of this chapter. So next we will explain the next question. Explain while and do while loop with the example. Next loop is while loop. After the for loop, next loop is while loop. While loop, keep in mind while loop is also called event control loop, or this one also called the pre-test loop. So you can also call the pre-test loop. The while statement is used to implement repetition structures. The purpose is same as the purpose of for loop. When the number of iteration is not known in advance, not known in the for loop, I tell you 1 to 50 or 50 to 1 or 2 to 100. or 100 to 1 or 200 to 300, it means that in the for loop we know the initial value and the last value. But over here in the while statement, we don't know the exact number of iteration. How many times? Let's say I give you the example. In the first, in the for loop, I tell you display your name 50 times or display write your name 30 times or 5 times. It means that we have know the number of times repetition. But over here in the while statement, we don't know the number of repetition. Let's say I give you the example. I tell you display your name or write your name until you don't press the until you press the enter key. It means that when you not press the enter key, so loop will be executed again and again and again and again until you press the enter key. Now you if you not press the enter key, it means that loop will be executed. So this one is called the event. So that's why while loop is also known as the event control. But in your book, they use the while loop can also be used as a for loop. Keep in mind, the most important wording over here is while loop can also be used as a for loop. So most of the program in your book is same as the for loop as the while loop. So we will use the while loop as a for loop or for loop as a while loop. So we can convert the programs of for loop into while loop or the while loop programs into the for loop. So over here, not known in advance and the repetition continues until test condition remains true. General form. What is the general form? First of all, reserve word while. Then watch here in the for loop there were three statements. First was initialization, second test condition, third was increment or decrement. But over here in the while loop only test condition is applicable. So you can apply only the condition over here. So till this condition becomes true, the body of loop inside the while will be executed. For this purpose, we have solved the example. The example is display all the alphabets starting from the capital A to capital Z. So for this purpose, we have the two header files stereo.h hash include conio.h wide main. Now watch here, although these are the alphabets, these are the alphabets, and I am going to use the n as an integer variable. Why I am using the integer variable? I will tell you, because clear screen, n is equal to 65. Watch here, n is equal to 65. Value of n is 65. Is less than or equal to 90. Why I'm using this condition? Why we are using this condition over here? The value of n is 65. 65 is less than or equal to 90. So condition is true. 65 is less than or equal to 90. Condition is true. Now what belongs to this one alphabets? Now we are going to develop or the writing the program for the displaying the alphabets in the class. I think in the previous classes when you were class 8, you have studied the one name ASCII. ASCII. ASCII stands for American Standard Coded Information Interchange. So the ASCII code of capital A is 65. So starting value is 65. That's why I'm giving the n is equal to 65. Why? Because the ASCII code of capital A is 65 and the ASCII code of capital Z is 90. Watch here. A is 65, B is 66, 67, 68 up to this one uh, last value will be 90. So that's why we are using this condition. N is less than or equal to 90, 65 is less. Okay, condition is true. Now comes to here. What will be happen? Printf percentage C. Why I'm using the percentage C? Because n was integer and I am going to display the character. So n having the value 65 and it will give me the character at the place of 65. It will give me the character. So 65 character is capital A. This one will be displayed. After that, n plus plus over here. N plus plus means it will increase the value of n. If the value of n was 65, now over here its value will be 66. Now 66 is less than or equal to 90. This condition again becomes true. Excuse me. Control will becomes to over here percent percentage C backslash percentage C n. Now at the value of 66, which character will be placed? So B is placed. B will be displayed over here. After that, C will be displayed. This process will be repeated again and again until this condition becomes true when the value of n becomes the 91. When the value of n after the increasing one by one, it will reach at the 91. Now it will check 91 is less than or equal to 90. Condition becomes false. When this condition becomes false, control will be automatically transferred to the after the loop, and the loop is over ending over here, and control will comes over here. So get ch and termination of the main function is over here. It means the main function will be closing at this point. So this one was the while loop. We will do many programs with the help of for loop, while loop, and the do while loop. So in the lab activities, there are many programs are present for to solve this one. So we will solve the re program related with the while and do while over there. Next question, next same question. Do while loop. First of all, we have explained the while loop. Question was explain while and do while loop with the example. This is the definition of while loop. This is the general form of while loop, and this is the example of while loop. Now, do while loop. The do while is also known as post test loop. The other name of do while loop is post test loop. Why it is post test loop, or why while was the pre test loop? Watch here, only the difference. Condition is checked before the loop. Loop is over here. This is loop is over here, and condition is checked at the top of the loop. That's why while is called the pre test loop. Now, the do while statement is used to implement loop structure when it is required to execute the loop at least once. If the rest do while loop is same as the while loop. Now only the difference between the while and the do while is over here. Both are the same. Purpose of both are same, but do while will execute only one time if the condition becomes false. Watch here, if the condition in the while loop, if this condition becomes false, so the body of loop will not be executed. Why not executed? Because the condition becomes false. So in this case, if the condition becomes false in do while loop, it will execute one time. Already one time. Why it will be executed? I will show you in the example. So general form of do while is over here. Reserve word do, then opening of do while, then the body of the loop, after that closing of do while, then after the closing over here check while test condition. Now watch here, condition is checked at the end of the loop. In the while it was checked at the top of the loop. In the do while loop, condition is checked at the end of the loop. That's why we call the do while is post test loop. Now over here, example, hash include stereo.h, hash include conio.h, void main. I will tell you for this in this program, if the condition becomes false, the loop will be executed one time. How? I will tell you over here. Watch here, void main, opening of the main function, integer n, clear screen, n is having the value 60. So any value you can assign it, but I want to make the condition false. That's why I give it the 60 to tell you why it was showing the result. Now watch here, n is equal to 60, and we are going to compare 60 is less than or equal to 50. This condition is true. Sorry, this condition is false. Now, although this condition is false, but it will give me the output, this output, work hard. Why it will show me the this output? Because when the line by line execution take place, first preserver do will be executed, then this line will be executed. When this line will be executed, it is printf statement, and in the printf statement the word is written work hard. It will display on the screen. Now after that, do is closing over here, and the while over here it is present after the loop. So it will check that this condition is false. Now as the condition becomes false, so already the message is appeared on the screen. That's why one time, if the do while loop condition becomes false, it will execute one time. But if this condition becomes true, it will be work like a while loop. It means that it will be executed again and again until condition becomes false. So this is the major difference between while loop and do while loop. So get character and the termination are the end of the main function. So this is the major difference between while loop and do while. So while is called pre-test loop, uh, and do while loop is called the post-test loop. In the while loop, if the condition becomes false, statements of the body of the loop will not be executed in while loop. But in do while loop, if the condition becomes false, it will execute one time the body of the loop. So I show you how it will be executed. Watch here. The work hard, this message will be appeared on the screen. Next question. Explain the purpose of the break and the continue statement with one example of each. We have already solved the break statement in the switch statement, and tell you I gave you the in the switch statement we have explained the break statement. So over here we will explain the break statement again, and continue statement is different from the break statement. I will show you, I will tell you what is the purpose of continue statement. So there are two questions. First one is explain the purpose of break, and I will show you the one example. Break statement is used to exit the control from the block in which it appears. Purpose is transfer the control outside the block in which it is present. Mostly we were using the break statement over where in the switch statement. So mostly it is used in the switch statement. Why we have already solved the switch statement examples and lab activities of switch statement. So over here we will explain again this one. Example, hash include studio.h, hash include connew.h, wide main character. Now I am going to the character variable ch is the name of the variable of type character ch. Clear string. Now I assign the value ch variable is single character. Why I enclose c inside the single inverted comma, and it is a single character because the character constant rules. Keep in mind, character constant rule was there. So any characters will be enclosed in single inverted comma, and its length should be one character. So C is single character variable. So its value is C, and it is enclosed in single inverted comma. Now CH having the value C. Switch CH. So we are going to check the cases. I told you the switch statement works on the equality basis. So C is equal to A, condition is false. So control will not transfer to over here. C is equal to B. So this condition is also false. So the control will not transfer to over here. Now again, it will transfer to the next C is equal to C. This condition becomes true because yes, C is equal to C. So control will be transferred to over here, and message will be appeared goodbye. This output will be appeared, and after that break statement is present. Now this break statement, with the help of this break statement, control will jump. Where it will jump? Outside the block. If I will not use this one, so it will check default. It will also show you the default message. Why? Because after the executing, the purpose of break statement is used to transfer the control outside the block. If we will not use in the block, so control will be checking the next condition until it will reach at the default statement automatically. So this was the break statement. Next is continue statement. Continue statement is used to skip the remaining statement within the body of the loop and continue loop for the next iteration. Watch here. Continue for the next iteration until the test condition is met. General form, reserve word continue will be used. I will show you the watch here. First of all, check the output which number is missing. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is not present in this one, and 4 is missing. So why 4 is missing, I will tell you. With the help of continue statement I missed the 4. So for this purpose, hash include c2.h, hash include continue.h, void main, opening of main function for integer j is equal to 0. The initial, I am going to use the for loop. Initial value of j is 0 and the last value of j is 8. So 0 is less than or equal to 8, condition is true, control will be transferred to over here. What is written over here? In this if statement, it is written if j is equal to 4. Now check here, j is equal to 4, the value of j is 0. 0 is equal to 4, condition is false, control will not transfer to over here. It will show printf percentage d j. So j value first 0 will be displayed. Now again control transfer to the j plus plus and it will increase the value 1. 1 is less than or equal to 8. So this condition is true. Yes, 1 is less than or equal to. Now again this condition will be checked. If j is equal to 4, so 1 is equal to 4. Condition is false. Control will not transfer to over here. So control will be automatically comes to that point. So 1 will be displayed, then 2 will be displayed, then 3 will be displayed. When the turns of 4 will become, so 4 is less than or equal to 4, this condition is true. Now it will check over here, 4 is equal to 4, this condition is true. So this condition, when this condition becomes to true, so inside the if we have write continue. Now what happened with the continue? It will transfer the control to the next iteration. It will not transfer to control over here. It will transfer to the next iteration of the for loop. So next iteration is 5. So 5 is less than or equal to 8. This condition is true. Now again it will be checked, 5 is equal to 4, condition is false. Control will be transferred to over here. Printf percentage d and 5 will be displayed on the screen. So watch here till it will be executed until 8. Watch here which number is missing. 4 is missing. Why 4 is missing? Because at the 4 I applied the condition j is equal to 4 and we applied the continue statement. I hope you understand the continue statement purpose. It will transfer to the control the next iteration of the loop. So next iteration was after the 4 there was a 5. This one is the continue statement, very important statement. So you must revise and remember these statements. Uh, Next is what is nested loop. So I think today is enough. Inshallah, tomorrow we will explain the nested loops with the help of examples. Till take care of yourself. Pray for me. Pray for all Muslim. Allah Hafiz.